Hello, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Isabella, and if you're watching this video, chances are you're either approaching retirement or already there, and you might be feeling a little anxious about making your money stretch. Well, I want you to take a deep breath with me right now, because I have some really good news for you. Living well on a fixed income after 65 is not only possible, it can actually be incredibly fulfilling. I've spent years researching this topic, talking to financial experts, and most importantly, speaking with hundreds of seniors who are not just surviving, but thriving on their fixed incomes. They're traveling, pursuing hobbies, staying connected with family, and living with dignity and joy. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Easy for you to say. But here's the thing. I'm going to share real practical strategies that real people are using every single day. These aren't pie-in-the-sky dreams or get-rich-quick schemes. These are proven, sensible approaches that respect both your financial reality and your desire to live well. Over the next 20+ minutes, we're going to cover 6 major areas. First, we'll help you get crystal clear on your actual fixed income, because you can't plan what you don't know. Then we'll dive into smart ways to cut costs without cutting the joy out of your life. We'll explore housing and lifestyle adjustments that can make a huge difference, talk about budgeting with real intention, uncover hidden resources that many seniors don't even know exist, and finally, we'll look at some gentle ways to earn a little extra income if you're interested. Before we dive in, I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. We're building a community of people who believe that your best years don't have to be behind you just because your earning years might be. And stick around until the end, because I'll be sharing a free downloadable guide that includes worksheets, checklists, and resources mentioned in this video. Alright, let's get started with the foundation of everything. Understanding exactly what you're working with. Understand your fixed income. Here's something that might surprise you. Many people over 65 don't actually know their exact monthly income. They have a rough idea, but they haven't sat down and calculated the precise numbers. And friends, you cannot create a sustainable financial plan without knowing exactly what's coming in each month. So let's break this down together. Your fixed income likely comes from several sources, and each one has its own characteristics and timing. Social Security is probably your largest source. If you haven't already, log into your Social Security account online. Yes, they have a website, ssa.gov, and look at your actual monthly benefit amount. Write this number down. If you're married, do this for both you and your spouse. Remember, Social Security does get small cost of living adjustments most years, but these are typically quite modest, so don't bank on major increases. Pensions are the second major source for those lucky enough to have them. Whether it's from a former employer, military service, or government work, write down exactly how much you receive each month. Some pensions have inflation adjustments, others don't, so make sure you understand the terms of yours. Retirement savings distributions are your third pillar. This includes money you're withdrawing from 401k accounts, IRAs, or other retirement accounts. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky because you have some control over how much you withdraw. But remember, there are required minimum distributions once you hit 73, and there are tax implications to consider. If you haven't already, this is definitely worth a conversation with a tax professional or financial advisor who works with seniors. Some of you might also have investment income from dividends, interest, or rental properties. Others might have part-time work income. Whatever your source is, write them all down. Now, here's a really important point. We're not just adding up the gross amounts. You need to know your after-tax, take-home monthly income. Some of your Social Security might be taxable depending on your total income. Pension and retirement account distributions are often fully taxable. So either look at your actual bank deposits or do the math to figure out what's really hitting your checking account each month. I want to share a tool that many seniors find incredibly helpful. A simple monthly income tracker. You can create this yourself in a notebook, use a simple Excel spreadsheet, or try apps designed specifically for seniors like Mint or Good Budget. These apps can automatically categorize your income and expenses, and they're designed to be senior-friendly with larger text and simpler interfaces. But honestly, sometimes the old-fashioned pen and paper method works best. There's something powerful about physically writing down your numbers. It makes them real and helps you remember them. Here's what I want you to do right after this video. Gather your last 3 months of bank statements and add up your total monthly income. Don't estimate, don't guess. Use the real numbers. This is your financial foundation, and everything else we're going to talk about builds on this. One more crucial point. Your fixed income might not be as fixed as you think. Yes, the major sources like Social Security and most pensions are quite stable. But you might have more flexibility than you realize in areas like retirement account withdrawals, part-time work, or how you manage investment income. We'll come back to this later when we talk about earning extra income. Cut costs without cutting joy. Now that you know exactly what's coming in, let's talk about the art of spending less without feeling deprived. This is really where the magic happens, because small changes in your spending can have a huge impact on your financial comfort and peace of mind. Let's start with the big-ticket items, because this is where you'll see the most dramatic results. Housing is typically your largest expense, often 25 to 35% of your income. If your housing costs are eating up more than that, we need to have a serious conversation about your options, which we'll cover in detail in the next section. But even if your housing is affordable, there are ways to reduce these costs. Look at your utility bills. Many utility companies offer special rates or assistance programs for seniors. Call your electric, gas, and water companies and ask specifically about senior discounts or low-income assistance programs. You might qualify for programs you didn't even know existed. Simple changes can also make a big difference. LED light bulbs use 80% less energy than incandescent bulbs and last much longer. A programmable thermostat can save you 10% or more on heating and cooling costs. During winter, setting your thermostat just 2 degrees lower can save about 5% on your heating bill. In summer, setting it 2 degrees higher can have similar savings on cooling costs. Now let's talk about subscriptions and recurring services. This is where many people find surprising money drains. Sit down with your bank and credit card statements and highlight every recurring charge. Cable TV, streaming services, magazine subscriptions, gym memberships you're not using, insurance policies that might be outdated. Here's a real example. I talked to a gentleman named Robert who discovered he was paying for 3 different streaming services, a gym membership he hadn't used in 2 years, and a magazine subscription he'd forgotten about. Just by canceling these, he freed up $127 per month. That's over $1,500 per year. But here's the important part. We're not talking about cutting out everything you enjoy. We're talking about being intentional. Maybe you keep Netflix but cancel the cable TV. Maybe you keep your YMCA membership because you really do use the pool, but you cancel the magazine subscription because you can read the same content online for free. Grocery shopping is another area where smart strategies can save you significant money without sacrificing nutrition or enjoyment. And this is important. We're not talking about eating rice and beans every day. We're talking about shopping strategically. First, meal planning is your friend. Before you go to the store, plan out your meals for the week and make a shopping list. People who shop with a list spend about 23% less than those who don't. And here's a bonus tip. Eat something before you go grocery shopping. Shopping while hungry leads to impulse purchases. Store brands, also called generic or private label products, can save you 20 to 25% without sacrificing quality. Most store brands are made by the same companies that make the name brands, they just put a different label on them. Bulk buying can save money, but be smart about it. Buying a 50-pound bag of rice makes sense if you have storage space and actually eat rice regularly. But buying bulk quantities of fresh produce that will spoil before you can use it is just throwing money away. Here's something many seniors don't take advantage of. Senior discount days at grocery stores. Many major chains offer 5 to 10% discounts for seniors on specific days of the week. Call your local stores and ask about their senior programs. And speaking of discounts, let's talk about the broader world of senior discounts and loyalty programs. If you're 65 or older, you qualify for discounts at thousands of businesses, but many seniors don't ask for them. Restaurants, retail stores, pharmacies, airlines, hotels, the list goes on and on. Here's what I recommend. Create a small card for your wallet that lists the senior discounts you use most often. Include the discount percentage and any specific days or requirements. And always ask, do you offer a senior discount? The worst they can say is no, but you'll be surprised how often they say yes. Now, let's not forget about your local senior center. If you haven't checked out what your senior center offers, you might be missing out on significant savings and great experiences. Many senior centers offer free or low-cost meals, exercise classes, educational programs, social activities, and even transportation services. I visited a senior center in Florida where they offer a hot, nutritious lunch for just $3. The same meal at a restaurant would easily cost $12 to $15. They also had free computer classes, a book club, game nights, and day trips to local attractions at prices far below what you'd pay commercially. The key to all of this is to think about cutting costs as a creative challenge rather than a punishment. You're not depriving yourself. You're being resourceful and smart. And every dollar you don't spend unnecessarily is a dollar you can spend on something that truly matters to you. Housing and lifestyle adjustments. Let's talk about housing, because this is often the most emotional and complex part of financial planning for seniors. Your home isn't just a financial asset, it's filled with memories, it represents independence, and it's probably where you feel most comfortable. So any conversation about housing adjustments needs to honor those feelings while also being realistic about your financial situation. First, let's look at the numbers. Housing experts generally recommend that your total housing costs, mortgage or rent, property taxes, insurance, utilities, and basic maintenance, should not exceed 30% of your income. If you're spending significantly more than that, it's putting pressure on every other aspect of your budget. Downsizing is often the first option people consider, and it can make a lot of sense, but it's not right for everyone. The financial benefits of downsizing go beyond just lower monthly payments. A smaller home typically means lower utility bills, reduced maintenance costs, lower property taxes, and less money spent on furniture and household items. But let's be honest about the challenges too. Moving is expensive and stressful. You'll need to sort through decades of accumulated belongings, which can be emotionally exhausting. You'll lose some storage space. And depending on your local real estate market, you might not get as much for your current home as you'd hoped, or the smaller homes available might not be significantly less expensive. If you're considering downsizing, here are some key questions to ask yourself. Can you realistically handle the physical and emotional work of moving? Are there significantly less expensive housing options in your area that would still meet your needs? Would the monthly savings be substantial enough to justify the effort and expense of moving? Now, let's talk about a housing option that many seniors don't consider but which can be incredibly beneficial. Shared living arrangements. This doesn't mean giving up your independence or privacy. Modern shared living for seniors can take many forms. You might rent out a room in your current home to a younger person, perhaps a college student or young professional. This can provide both income and a sense of security. Many communities have services that help match seniors with appropriate housemates, including background checks and compatibility assessments. Or you might consider moving in with another senior or even a family member. I know a wonderful woman named Margaret who moved in with her longtime friend Helen after both of their husbands passed away. They split the household expenses, provide companionship for each other, and both feel safer and more secure. Some areas have formal senior co-housing communities where residents have their own private spaces but share common areas and some meals. This can provide both financial benefits and social connection. Geographic relocation is another option worth considering. This doesn't necessarily mean moving across the country, although some seniors do find significant financial benefits in relocating to states with lower costs of living and more favorable tax structures for retirees. But you might find savings by moving within your own region to a more affordable community. Perhaps moving from an expensive suburban area to a smaller town where your dollar stretches further. Or moving from a high-cost state to a neighboring state with lower taxes and housing costs. If you're considering a geographic move, research carefully. Look at not just housing costs, but also healthcare availability, transportation options, proximity to family and friends, climate considerations, and state tax implications for your retirement income. Reverse mortgages are another tool that some seniors use to manage housing costs, but they're complex and not right for everyone. A reverse mortgage allows you to borrow against your home's equity without making monthly payments, but the loan becomes due when you sell the home, move out permanently, or pass away. The pros: you can stay in your home, You don't have monthly mortgage payments, and you can receive the money as a lump sum, monthly payments, or a line of credit. The cons: you're reducing the equity you'll leave to heirs, there are significant fees involved, you're still responsible for property taxes and maintenance, and if you can't keep up with those obligations, you could lose your home. If you're considering a reverse mortgage, please consult with a HUD-approved housing counseling agency. They provide free, unbiased information to help you understand your options. Let's also discuss home modifications that can help you stay in your current home safely and comfortably as you age. Sometimes a few strategic modifications can be much more cost-effective than moving. Simple changes like installing grab bars in bathrooms, improving lighting, removing trip hazards, and creating a bedroom and bathroom on the main floor can make a huge difference in your safety and comfort. Many of these modifications cost far less than moving, and can often be done gradually over time. Some communities and organizations offer grants or low-interest loans specifically for home modifications for seniors. The USDA offers rural repair and rehabilitation grants, and many local area agencies on aging have information about available assistance programs. Assisted living is something some seniors begin to consider, but it's important to understand the financial implications. Assisted living can cost anywhere from $3,000 to $7,000 per month or more, depending on your location and the level of care needed. Most people pay for this privately since Medicare doesn't cover assisted living costs. However, if you're currently spending a lot on home maintenance, utilities, groceries, and perhaps some healthcare or personal care services, the cost difference might not be as dramatic as it first appears. Some people find that assisted living actually improves their quality of life while being financially manageable. The key with all housing decisions is to think both short-term and long-term. What works for you now at 65 might need to change when you're 75 or 85. Try to make decisions that give you flexibility for the future. Budgeting with intention. Now let's talk about creating a budget that actually works for your life. Not some theoretical budget that looks good on paper but ignores the reality of how you actually want to live. Traditional budgeting advice often feels restrictive and joyless, especially for seniors who might feel like they've earned the right to spend their money as they please. And you know what? You're absolutely right. But here's the thing. Intentional budgeting isn't about restriction. It's about making sure your money goes toward the things that actually matter to you. Let's start with the fundamental distinction between needs and wants. But I want to approach this differently than most financial advisors do. Yes, housing, food, utilities, healthcare, and transportation are needs. But beyond those basics, the line between needs and wants gets blurry, and that's okay. Maybe going out to dinner once a week isn't technically a need, but if it's how you stay connected with friends and it brings you genuine joy, then it might be a need for your emotional and social well-being. Maybe cable TV is a want for some people, but if you're spending most of your day at home and television is your primary entertainment, then maybe it's more of a need for you. The key is being honest with yourself about what truly adds value to your life versus what you're spending money on out of habit or social pressure. Here's an exercise I want you to try. For the next month, write down every single purchase and ask yourself, did this purchase align with what I actually value and enjoy? Don't judge yourself. Just observe. You might discover that you're spending money on things that don't actually bring you satisfaction, while missing opportunities to spend on things that would genuinely improve your life. Let's talk about creating what I call a values-based budget. Start by identifying your top 5 priorities for how you want to spend your time and money. Maybe your list looks like this: staying healthy, maintaining connections with family and friends, continuing to learn and grow, having a comfortable home environment, and helping others or contributing to causes you care about. Now, look at your current spending. Does your money allocation match your stated priorities? If staying healthy is a top priority, are you budgeting adequately for nutritious food, healthcare, and fitness activities? If maintaining family connections is important, are you setting aside money for visits, gifts, or communication costs? This approach helps ensure that your spending reflects your actual values rather than just your immediate impulses or social expectations. The envelope method can be particularly effective for seniors, whether you use actual envelopes with cash or just separate categories in your checking account. Here's how it works. Each month, You fill your envelopes with the amount you've budgeted for each category: groceries, entertainment, personal care, gifts, etc. When an envelope is empty, you're done spending in that category for the month. This method helps prevent overspending and makes your budget very concrete and visual. Many seniors find it less stressful than trying to track every penny or constantly checking account balances. But here's the crucial part: allocate fun money. I cannot stress this enough. If your budget is so tight that there's no room for any enjoyment or spontaneity, you're going to feel deprived, and you'll eventually rebel against your own budget. Even if it's just $25 or $50 per month, set aside money that you can spend on absolutely anything you want without feeling guilty. Maybe it's a nice lunch out, a book, a small gift for a grandchild, or a plant for your garden. The amount doesn't matter as much as the fact that you have it. And plan for occasional splurges. This is still your life, and you deserve to enjoy it. Maybe once a quarter, you save up for something special. A weekend trip, a nice dinner at a restaurant you've been wanting to try, or tickets to a show or concert. The key is to plan for these larger expenses rather than feeling guilty when they happen or letting them derail your entire budget. If you know you want to take a trip in 6 months that will cost $600, start setting aside $100 each month now. Let me share a budgeting approach that many seniors find liberating. The 50-30-20 approach, modified for retirees. Traditional financial advice says to allocate 50% of your income to needs, 30% to wants, and 20% to savings. But as a retiree, you might modify this to something like 60% for needs, 25% for wants and entertainment, 10% for unexpected expenses, and 5% for gifts or charitable giving. These percentages aren't magic. Adjust them based on your situation. The important thing is having a framework that acknowledges both your practical needs and your desire to enjoy your money. Emergency funds are crucial at any age, but they're particularly important for seniors because you have less time and opportunity to recover from financial setbacks. Try to maintain an emergency fund that covers 3 to 6 months of basic expenses. I know this can seem impossible on a fixed income, but even starting with a goal of $500 or $1,000 can provide enormous peace of mind. Build this fund gradually. Maybe $25 or $50 per month. Treat it like any other bill that must be paid. And keep this money in a separate account so you're not tempted to spend it on non-emergencies. Let's also talk about seasonal budgeting. Your expenses might vary significantly throughout the year. Heating costs in winter, cooling costs in summer, holiday gifts in December, property taxes that might be due semi-annually, annual insurance premiums. Look at your entire year and try to smooth out these fluctuations by setting aside money each month for predictable seasonal expenses. Finally, remember that budgeting is a skill that improves with practice. Don't expect to get it perfect right away. Review and adjust your budget regularly. Maybe monthly for the first few months, then quarterly once you find a system that works for you. The goal isn't to create a perfect budget. It's to create a spending plan that helps you live comfortably within your means while still enjoying your life and maintaining your dignity and independence. Contact 211 by dialing 211 from any phone. This connects you to information about local health and human services, including programs for seniors. Visit your local senior center, even if you've never been there before. They often have staff who specialize in helping seniors access benefits and services. Talk to the social worker at your doctor's office or local hospital. They often have extensive knowledge about available resources and can help with applications. Here's the most important thing I want you to remember. These programs exist because communities and governments recognize that seniors deserve support and assistance. You're not asking for charity. You're accessing services and benefits that exist specifically for people in your situation. There's no shame in getting help, and using these resources might free up money that you can spend on things that bring you joy and improve your quality of life. Earn a little extra. Now let's talk about something that might surprise you. Earning a little extra income after 65 can be easier and more enjoyable than you might think. This isn't about going back to a traditional full-time job or working just to survive. This is about finding flexible, often enjoyable ways to bring in some additional money that can make your fixed income stretch further. The key word here is little. We're not talking about replacing your career income. We're talking about earning an extra $200, $500, or maybe $1,000 per month. Amounts that can significantly improve your comfort and peace of mind without overwhelming your life. Let's start with remote work opportunities. The internet has opened up possibilities that didn't exist even 10 years ago, and many of these opportunities are perfect for seniors who have a lifetime of experience and knowledge to share. Online tutoring is booming, and there's high demand for patient, experienced tutors. Platforms like Tutor.com, Wezant, and Chegg Tutors connect tutors with students of all ages. You don't need teaching credentials for many subjects. You just need knowledge and patience. Math, reading, writing, history, even life skills. There are students who need help with all of these. I know a retired engineer named Frank who makes about $400 per month tutoring high school students in math and physics. He works about 6 to 8 hours per week, sets his own schedule, and genuinely enjoys helping young people understand concepts that he's been working with his entire career. Virtual assistant work is another growing field. Small business owners and entrepreneurs often need help with tasks like email management, appointment scheduling, basic bookkeeping, or customer service. Your years of work experience, professionalism, and reliability make you an ideal candidate for these roles. Freelance writing might be perfect if you enjoy writing and have expertise in any particular area. Websites, blogs, and businesses need content constantly. You could write about your former career, hobbies you're passionate about, or even about senior living topics. Now, let's talk about turning hobbies into income. This is where things get really fun because you're essentially getting paid to do things you already enjoy. Crafting can be incredibly lucrative. Etsy, Facebook Marketplace, and local craft fairs are full of opportunities to sell handmade items. Knitted scarves and hats, crocheted blankets, woodworking projects, jewelry, painted ceramics. If you make it, there's probably someone who wants to buy it. I met a woman named Dorothy who started making baby quilts for her great-grandchildren and enjoyed it so much that she began selling them online. She now makes about $300 to $600 per month and has a waiting list of customers. She works at her own pace and only takes on projects she finds enjoyable. Baking and cooking can also generate income. Some states allow home-based food businesses with proper licensing. You could bake specialty cakes, make preserves or pickled goods, or prepare meals for busy families in your community. Gardening expertise is valuable too. You could start seedlings and sell them in spring, grow and sell fresh herbs or vegetables, or offer garden consulting services to younger homeowners who want beautiful gardens but don't know where to start. Teaching skills or knowledge doesn't have to be formal tutoring. You could offer music lessons, art instruction, cooking classes, or even technology training for other seniors. Many communities have adult education programs that use volunteer instructors, and some of these positions come with modest compensation. Let's explore passive income opportunities. These require some upfront work but can generate ongoing income with minimal daily effort. Digital products are perfect for this. If you have knowledge or skills that others want to learn, you could create an online course, write an ebook, or develop printable resources that you sell repeatedly. Once created, these products can generate income for years. Selling items you no longer need might seem obvious, but many seniors are sitting on valuable items they don't even realize they have. That china set, vintage jewelry, old books, collectibles, tools, or electronics could be worth significant money on eBay, Facebook Marketplace, or at consignment shops. Consider renting out assets you're not fully using. Do you have a parking space you could rent to someone who works nearby? A storage shed that a neighbor might pay to use? Even space in your garage could be valuable to someone who needs storage. Photography is another possibility if you have a good camera or even a smartphone with a decent camera. Stock photography websites pay for high-quality images, and you might be surprised what people are looking for. Not just artistic shots, but everyday images of people, places, and activities. Now, Let's talk about some important considerations for earning extra income as a senior. Social Security impact. If you're receiving Social Security and are under your full retirement age, there are earnings limits that might affect your benefits. For 2024, you can earn up to about $22,320 per year without affecting your Social Security. If you're past your full retirement age, you can earn as much as you want without impacting your Social Security benefits. Tax implications. Additional income might affect your tax situation. Keep good records of all income and expenses related to your extra earnings, and consider consulting with a tax professional to understand the implications. Medicare considerations. Additional income might affect your Medicare premiums if it pushes your total income above certain thresholds. Again, this is worth discussing with a knowledgeable professional. Energy and time management. The beauty of earning extra income as a senior is that you can usually work at your own pace and choose projects you enjoy. Don't let the pursuit of extra income become stressful or overwhelming. The goal is to improve your quality of life, not to create new sources of stress. Scam awareness. Unfortunately, seniors are often targeted by employment scams. Be wary of opportunities that require upfront payments, promise unrealistic earnings, or ask for personal financial information before you've established a legitimate working relationship. Remember, the goal isn't to become wealthy or to work full-time. The goal is to find enjoyable, flexible ways to earn some extra money that can give you more breathing room in your budget and perhaps allow you to enjoy some extras that might not otherwise be possible. We've covered a lot of ground today, and I want you to know that you don't need to implement every single strategy we discussed. The beauty of living well on a fixed income is that you can choose the approaches that make the most sense for your unique situation and personality. Let me remind you of the key message I want you to take away from this video. You don't need a lot to live well. You just need a plan. And more importantly, you need a plan that honors both your financial reality and your desire to live with dignity, joy, and purpose. Think about everything we've covered today as a menu of options rather than a to-do list. Maybe the idea of earning extra income through tutoring excites you, but downsizing feels overwhelming right now. That's perfectly fine. Start with what feels manageable and energizing. Maybe you're inspired to look into those hidden resources we discussed, or perhaps you're ready to create that values-based budget we talked about. Whatever resonates with you, start there. Here's what I want you to do right now, while this information is fresh in your mind. First, write down the exact amount of your monthly after-tax income. This is your foundation, and you can't build a solid financial plan without it. Second, choose just one strategy from today's video that you're going to implement in the next week. Maybe it's calling your utility company to ask about senior discounts. Maybe it's visiting your local area agency on aging to learn about available services. Maybe it's signing up for your grocery store's senior discount program. Pick one thing and do it. Third, I want you to download our free, Smart Budgeting Guide for Seniors. This comprehensive PDF includes worksheets for tracking your income and expenses, a list of senior discounts and resources, budget templates designed specifically for people living on fixed incomes, and a step-by-step action plan for implementing the strategies we discussed today. You'll find the download link in the description below this video, and it's completely free. No email required, no strings attached. I created this guide because I believe every senior deserves to have the tools and information they need to live comfortably and confidently. Now, I want to hear from you. In the comments below, share your best money-saving tip or tell us about a resource you've discovered that other seniors might not know about. This community is incredibly generous with sharing practical advice, and your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. We're building a community of people who believe that your best years don't have to be behind you, and that living well doesn't require unlimited funds. It just requires good information, smart strategies, and the confidence to implement them. Remember, every expert was once a beginner. Every person who's successfully living well on a fixed income started exactly where you are right now. They didn't have any special advantages or secret knowledge. They just took one step at a time, made adjustments as they learned what worked, and stayed focused on what truly mattered to them. You can do this. You have a lifetime of experience, wisdom, and resourcefulness that you can draw upon. You've navigated challenges before, and you can navigate this one too. Your retirement years should be about more than just surviving. They should be about thriving. They should be about having the time and freedom to focus on what brings you joy, whether that's spending time with family, pursuing hobbies, traveling, volunteering, learning new things, or simply enjoying the peace that comes with financial security. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll be discussing healthcare strategies for seniors that can save you both money and stress. Until then, take care of yourselves, and remember, your best days are still ahead of you.